challenge themselves. They have to make a decision.
With FC Dallas, and will continue their tour of the globe here in preseason 2024 as Remy Touchon, our head referee, gets us underway from the historic Cotton Bowl. Turn off the world and turn on the game. It's a preseason friendly from the Lone Star State. Tyler Terrans along with Devin Kerr. It is Inter Miami and FC Dallas, and we are so thrilled that you're able to join us here on MLSsoccer.com. Inter Miami, of course, coming off of a 0-0 draw against El Salvador. Devin, what are some of the bigger things that stood out to you in that draw just a couple of days ago?
Complacency. It just felt like everybody was going for a walk in the park, right? And for a team that everything that we heard from a fitness standpoint seemed to be at the top of their game, they looked a little bit sluggish. Now travel's going to come into play, change of venue, change of location. I want to see a team with a bit more intensity tonight, even with the changes. And FC Dallas, it's a new look of sorts. So we talked about the tactical changes. Can they maximize themselves going forward? And how quickly do they feel like they become the confident ones? That's with everything that Nico Estevez brought to our conversations. We need to be more confident going forward, and we need to produce numbers up top.
Leonel Messi getting on the ball for the first time today, and trying to thread the needle for Julian Gressel, who of course came over from the Columbus Crew after a tumultuous 12 months just in terms of where he was living in North America. Went from Vancouver to Columbus and then to South Florida, all in the span of about 11 or 12 months. And for Luis Suarez, given away though, as FC Dallas will try to implement this back three against this star-studded Herring group. David Ruiz was one of the young bright spots for Inter Miami last year. Of course, all of the World Cup winning veterans that are Messi, Busquets, Alba, Suarez are going to get most of the headlines, but the performances from the likes of Noah Allen, David Ruiz, Benjamin Kramaski really allowed Inter Miami to play that they want to. Are a big reason for their Leagues Cup trophy as well. Fell in the final to the Houston Dynamo of the US Open Cup. Failed to make the postseason, which was one of the big things that Luis Suarez said was attractive to him. And heading over to Inter Miami from Gremio, trying to help this group win MLS Cup for the first time in franchise history.
Right out of the gate, positive football. From the turnover in the midfield, watch the first touch from Liam Frazier. This is everything. The counterattack.
Mighty impressive from Jesus Ferreira, who had the presence of mind and the dexterity to be able to fend off Noah Allen and then get the shot away. Yes, 12 goals and 6 assists does sound like a good haul for most strikers in Major League Soccer, but he was coming off of a year in 2022 where he scored 18 goals and 6 assists in just 29 starts. And if you took a look at the chances and the XG for Jesus Ferreira last year, and of course a lot of fans and people surrounding the FC Dallas organization weren't particularly thrilled with the production rate from Ferreira, or really everybody who was playing in the attacking third for Nico Estevez's side, but have to imagine that Ferreira's going to have a massive 2024. And of course finished as the leading goal scorer for the U.S. men's national team, of course getting a lot of his work done against mostly Caribbean sides, and he's earned himself a couple of fun nicknames as a result of that.
And there's no surprise whatsoever that a ton is put on his shoulders, right? We understand that there's a tremendous amount of talent for Jesus Ferreira, but so many times last season that there was too much emphasis on the 9 spot, and for him to do it by his lonesome.
Oriola digs it over the top. A little bit awkward here for Allen, but he'll just see it out of play.
That does play into the hands of Nico Estevez in terms of how he's going to change this team tactically, because remember, it's not just finding a way to get Jesus Ferreira more involved, it's the absence of Alan Velasco, who went down with the knee injury against Seattle Sounders, that opening round game of MLS playoffs in 2023. So finding a way to not only build more together, but as they advance forward, not having these 1 or 2 players trying to carry the burden attacking-wise for this squad. They want to build 3 and 2, carry the 3 on the back line, 2 holding midfielders, and then be very aggressive on the outside. We've already seen that just 5 minutes in. Nico Estevez right now basically wants to say, shut it down, the game's over. I'm happy with everything that has gone on, because to a T, Tyler, the exact conversation that we had is exactly how it's played out on the field so far. No points for only 5 minutes of play, though. Still,
particularly in a preseason game, is Jordi Alba making that delayed run from the left back position. We saw him do that so many times over the course of his career, but particularly with Inter Miami when he came over during the summer in 2023. Messi just helping it along for Noah Allen. And Allen will creep forward from that left center back position as well, operating in the back three for Tata Martino.
A lot of question marks the other night on the ability defensively to close space down. Tomas Abeles was the center of the back three, and already you can see on the right-hand side a lot more aggression, not just from Noah Allen, but coming off the back line. And I would expect that from them this season. You know, we discussed the numbers going forward for FC Dallas, but Inter Miami, they're looking the same thing. Tata Martino, and if I play in a 4, if I play in a 3, giving the guys on the defensive shape the luxury to come off, to be aggressive, to get involved in the attack, because it's going to free up more space. More importantly, it makes the team in front of you defensively challenge themselves. They have to make it as sets himself, squares the ball back up, and then immediate reaction. Coming into 2023, Nico Estevez very direct about the fact that they were attacking the XG against, and how they needed to be better defensively. Well, they certainly did that. Third best defensive unit in all of Major League Soccer in terms of goals against. A level of consistency that was very difficult to break down. You and I, Tyler, had the opportunity multiple times last season to witness it firsthand.
And we saw the progression over the course of the season as well, right? There weren't a ton of clean sheets at the start, and they were struggling a little bit, but as the season went on, the more and more resilient they became. And a big part of that as well, and we'll continue to talk about, is Nkosi Tafari and how much he progressed over the course of the season and really allowed this FC Dallas side to become one of the bigger stalwart names in the Western Conference and in all of MLS for that matter. Paul Arriola chasing, and it pays dividends. Dallas, of course, fell to the Seattle Sounders in the MLS Cup postseason in the first round, pushing the game to 3 games in the series after dropping the first one, winning the second. And of course, that was the series in which Alan Velasco tore his ACL, as David Ruiz holding on to his head and making sure that he's all right. Sebastian Ibiaga, the 32-year-old from Warri, Nigeria, came up to the Houston Dynamo Academy, played his college soccer at Duke. Turned 32 years of age, Ibiaga, just yesterday. And now here's the age-old argument. Who's on the set piece, Julian Gressel or Leonel Messi?
What a cheat code.
Crowd, of course, just a little bit more eager, a little bit more in tune with what's going on with number 10's on the ball. Suarez trying to peel it back for Ristov. And it's out of play for another Miami corner.
Clever little ball through, and a beautiful run on the diag from Luis Suarez, just coming off the back line. Spacing-wise, this is where they're really going to be tested, FC Dallas, because as you get high, so many numbers forward for Inter Miami. Where are you tracking from? Have to be cognizant of the wide position, so much space available, and Suarez recognizes that, just steps right in. Almost pays dividends. Helped along, and it will be a goal kick for FC Dallas. Fair to say that Inter Miami's probably the only side of Major League Soccer where Julian Gressel would go and not be the number 1 choice on a dead ball. All of a sudden, the work after training just got a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Joke is never going to win that argument. Doesn't matter how late you stay. That's the luxury, though, that they have now, right? And all of a sudden, and I talked a little bit about this during the El Salvador game, Tyler. It's no longer, what is this team going to be? You have a good idea of what they could be now. Right now, it's, okay, what are we chasing here, chasing there? We've got attacking options. It's going to come down to how many competitions they have to face, the influx of games, and health. paired with international duty. Those are the three biggest things because talent's not a concern anymore. Now, to be fair, the work had already started prior, and give Phil Neville some credit. Obviously, Chris Henderson in the front office and what they were able to do. The youth that has come up through this great academy system. You mentioned a couple of them. Kromaski not on the field tonight, but they've done so well for themselves. And then you've got world-class stars to complement.
Messi, who started this whole move, ends up getting smothered by Paes in the end.
Incredible save to the bottom corner by the goalkeeper.
Another corner from Messi. Paes again, called into action. And that ball from Busquets, that's the IQ that simply is just not going to show up on the stat sheet, where he knows that if the ball is given away, where his first option is going to be. It wasn't a touch or anything that needed to happen extra. One ball in, and we're off to the races. Just takes a deflection and finds Suarez, attempting to peel it back. Another deflection, another Miami corner. And Miami really starting to put the clamps down on Dallas after they scored the opening goal through Jesus Ferreira in the first few minutes.
David Ruiz coming out of the midfield. He's really challenging the right side of this back line, which, as Ibunya is going, 2 consecutive movements by the visitors, that has opened up that space. We saw Messi in there, and now Luis Suarez. That's a conversation. If you're staying or going, they have to be better on this back three.
Noah Allen. U.S. international DeAndre Yedlin. Ball is a dangerous one, but Paes has it covered the entire way. Jordi Alba scampering forward. First time delivery intended for Suarez.
This could be an absolute mockery if this growth and development continues for Inter Miami. Beautiful vision, utter class here by David Ruiz to take this thing down. Selfishly could have tried to take it off the right foot. A difficult move, but beautiful ball back across.
Ruiz again going for goal on the wrong side of the post, and certainly caught the interest of those who have traveled to the Cotton Bowl tonight.
I get it. It's the second preseason game, the first for FC Dallas, but you know, if we're talking about Inter Miami and their growth, already a massive change with the midfield tonight. One thing they were really lacking the other night was the comfortability of the two in front of Sergio Busquets, and you know, Gregory getting him that high. We're so accustomed to seeing him as that deep role, that single pivot. Even when they played in the 4-2-3-1 at times, they always played through him or off of him. They didn't play around, or they didn't find a way to get him up top. Understandably so. He had to sit that deep. But now with Busquets in there, and as regular as he is, you have that luxury. These players have to feel comfortable coming out of the midfield. The youngster, David Ruiz, almost 20 years of age. At least he will be in about a week's and a half time. Doing some really brilliant things just 15 minutes into this match. You ever heard that before? You're doing some brilliant things 15 minutes into a match?
Yeah, but then everything stops after those 15 minutes.
Stop, please.
Aviles almost got caught with it. Jesus Ferreira trying to nip an easy one. Busquets striding forward. Yedlin was making a clever run. to the heart of the FC Dallas defense. Instead it finds Aviles. Slips on the slick terrain here at the Cotton Bowl. Paul Arriola with the assist on the Jesus Ferreira goal. And if you're just watching from the 4th minute on through the 17th, you're sort of wondering, how did Dallas get an opportunity? They really have only been on the ball in clean consecutive fashion once, and it resulted in a goal.
Commentator's curse.
Here's the second time, broken up by Aviles. Well, the curse all depends on which side of the ball you're rooting for, right?
Of
If it's
course.
FC Dallas, it's a good thing.
Let it burn.
It's a blessing. I knew there was going to be a Dallas burn joke at some point today. I just didn't know when it was coming.
Dad of 3. What do you want from me? 4 if you include you.
Well, it's a new season. Hopefully we can get rid of some old habits. Messi. Thought he had Jordi Alba for a moment. And they'll restart with Drake Callender, the 26-year-old keeper from Sacramento, California, who really had his coming out party last year. And he had made some big saves and gotten some people's attention, even in 2022. But some of the things that he was able to do, especially when Miami were at their most vulnerable, at the beginning of the summer, late spring, when they were waiting for Messi, Busquets, and Alba to come in. They had tons of injuries, Gregory, Mota, Negri, the like. And there were a few games where he truly stood on his head and kept it from getting truly ugly. Ruiz. Suarez. And Messi. Still trying to get on the same page as 2023 MLS Cup winner Julian Gressu came over from the crew. And driving forward with real purpose was Dante Sealy. And Remy Touchon is going to issue his first yellow card of the evening, and it's in the direction of Tomas Aviles.
It's a smart move by Dante Sealy, though. That touch right there, cutting back across the trailing path of Tomas Aviles. You recognize the supporting cast over his left shoulder just a little bit, so he had a ton of space up through Route 1. I would imagine that Dante Sealy is, at least at this point in time, trying to work his way into first choice conversation. Of course, last season, Marco Farfan on the left-hand side for FC Dallas.
Here's the goal scorer, Ferreira. Good looking ball in, and the initial header from Ibiaga. Almost allowed Tafara to get there. And opening weekend for Major League Soccer is the earliest kickoff in MLS history. February 21st. And of course it is going to feature Inter Miami and Real Salt Lake, February 21st. All games airing on MLS Season Pass on Apple TV. Of course, the rest of the slate will get going right around February 24th, 25th. Over under 4 neon balls that are going to have to use opening weekend because of some snow.
I'm going to think positive. I'm going to say under.
Under?
Under.
Right. I'm going to hold you to that.
Fog got Eddie done, so we might need one tonight.
Alba getting forward again. Suarez was asking for it. Gressel. Ruiz is nipped from behind by Liam Frazier, the 25-year-old from Toronto. There is one familiar face on the side of FC Dallas who the Barca boys have seen before, and that's Asier Yaramendi. We'll get to that in just a moment as DeAndre Yedlin was played in. Ball intended for Suarez picked off, and then Yaramendi goes to ground. And gets out of trouble in neat fashion. Mendy, 33 years old, of course originally from Spain, won a Champions League with Real Madrid, an injury-riddled stint with Real Madrid from 2013 to 2015. Last time he took on the likes of Suarez, Messi, Busquets, and Alba. You have to go all the way back to 2019, where he finished up his La Liga career with Real Sociedad. Mendy quietly when he came to FC Dallas. One of the more controlling, calming presences in Western Conference, if not of all of Major League Soccer. And of course, it makes sense.
I was just going to say, especially as the season went on, right? We saw him early when he came in and seemed a little bit uncomfortable, but as the games ticked by, his level of quality just operating within the midfield, so clean, allowing this team to try and really find their identity defensively. Did that. Now the idea is going to be stretching the other direction. They're having a rough go of it right now. Inter Miami doing an incredible job. You see all the players in the midfield of stretching this team so wide, so the midfield flattens out. Gives Inter Miami more options in terms of depth, so they can play off of each other. They get this midfield line of 4 for Dallas as you try and spring going forward. The idea for Nico Estevez is to convolute the middle. More players on the inside to bounce off of each other, but because they're so flat, having difficult when they do actually get on the ball, is coming the other direction.
One will be brought back by Rémy Touchon. Now committed on Sergio Busquets. Right in the heart of the midfield.
I love the color scheme on the horn, right?
See a Boca Juniors mask in there as well.
Love a good game of hide and seek in the orchestra section.
Well, it's tough to play the trumpet with a mask on as well.
You seem more of a woods guy anyway, right? Like clarinet,
Sounds like a triangle.
Fair. More cowbell.
Messi curling one in. Gressel on the first time. Just had it nicely for him for just a second or two, as we are knocking on the door to the 26th minute. This is the second preseason game for Inter Miami amidst their world tour before the MLS season kicks off on February 21st. Tyler Terrence along with Devin Kerr, live from the Cotton Bowl, the old home of FC Dallas and the Dallas Burn. To go all the way back to 2004, 2005 to remember those days. And of course, a rich soccer history on the international stage here in Dallas, where the Cotton Bowl was host to a slew of group stage games in the 1994 World Cup, including a round of 16 and quarterfinal match. The quarterfinal match featured Brazil and the Netherlands, 3-2 thriller. Of course, that wound up in favor of the Brazilians. Messi. Trying to pick out Alba. Picked up the loose ball. Shouts for a penalty. Rémy Touchon not interested. And this being a preseason game, VAR not in effect tonight. And fun fact, Devin Kerr, Diego Maradona was actually supposed to play here at the Cotton Bowl for Argentina's final group stage game of that World Cup. But of course, it was the infamous match in which he was suspended after testing positive following their game against Nigeria, so he missed out on that game.
Unfortunately for Argentina, they had a little...
They're starting to click again, the old friends.
The movements really are incredible in this front line for Inter Miami. Once again, watch this quick little diagonal for Luis Suarez. Picks it up on his own. Just being in the space is the biggest thing for them. It's totally different than 2023. Knows exactly where his former running mate is going to be.
Awkward ball here. Ariola able to put some pressure on. Ferreira has a runner with him. It's Ansa. Ferreira asking for it back, and the delivery is a ways away from anybody in a white kit. And it looked like Ariola went into that challenge with a bit of a high boot and showing some studs, and that's why Sergei Ristov is slow to get up.
Also been what, close to 20-something minutes since they've advanced themselves this high in FC Dallas, and they're working through things. This is certainly going to be a marathon. The home squad this season, defensively, one would imagine no real question marks. Although if you ask Nico Estevez, on his wish list right now, like another central defender. Miami could make the argument on the left side of that back line as well, if you believe the rumors. One Nicolas Freire from Pumas could be headed to South Beach.
That's a scary proposition if they're able to land him, and that becomes official.
You know, watching that Pumas team en route to the 2022 now CONCACAF Champions Cup title game against the Seattle Sounders. Of course, the Sounders ran away with it that night.
Maarten Paes dengan bangga menyebutkan bahwa Timnas Indonesia akan menjadi juara Piala Dunia 2026. Kiper Timnas Indonesia itu baru-baru ini menghadiri sebuah sesi wawancara. Ia dan beberapa pemain serta pelatih yang berkarier di Major League Soccer MLS menghadiri wawancara sebuah media. Media yang berbasis di Jerman yakni Onefo Outball memberikan pertanyaan perihal negara mana yang akan menjadi juara di ajang Piala Dunia 2026. Dari sekian banyak pemain, mayoritas menjawab timnas Argentina yang akan keluar sebagai juara. Ada 5 pemain yang menjagokan Leonel Messi CS untuk menjuarai turnamen mendatang. Wajar apabila banyak yang menjagokan tim besutan Leonel Scaloni tersebut. Sebab tim berjuluk La Albiceleste itu berstatus sebagai juara bertahan saat ini. Mereka menjadi kampiun pada edisi 2022 yang berlangsung di Qatar lalu. Sementara itu negara kedua yang dijagokan menjadi juara adalah Amerika Serikat. Seperti diketahui Piala Dunia 2026 nanti akan berlangsung di negeri Paman Sam. Jadi, tak heran bila The Yanks turut dijagokan memenangi turnamen. Menariknya, Maarten Paes justru memberikan jawaban yang mengejutkan saat mendapat pertanyaan tersebut. Kiper berusia 26 tahun itu dengan lantang menjawab Timnas Indonesia. Ya, ia percaya Timnas bisa menjuarai turnamen bergengsi tersebut. Indonesia, jawab Paes sembari tersenyum. Padahal Timnas Indonesia saat ini masih berjuang di putaran ketiga kualifikasi Piala Dunia 2026 zona Asia. Dari 6 laga yang sudah dijalani, Paes DKK sudah mengumpulkan 6 poin. Poin itu didapat hasil dari 1 kemenangan, 3 seri, dan 2 kali menelan kekalahan. Kini tim Merah Putih bertengger di peringkat ketiga klasemen sementara grup C. Pada Maret mendatang, skuad Garuda akan melanjutkan kiprah mereka dengan melawan Timnas Australia dan Timnas Bahrain. Duel kontra Australia akan berlangsung pada 20 Maret mendatang. Sedangkan pertarungan melawan Bahrain berlangsung 5 hari setelahnya atau pada 25 Maret 2025.